Hey everybody, this episode of the What Are We Watching podcast is brought to you by
summerofgiveaways.com.
Yeah, Colin turns on the TV, Christian flips off the screen, cause there's no good children's shows that he's seen. We've got dogs with blogs, superheroes in the ER. All dads are dumb and kids have better PR. Colin just smile, Christian sits with the scowl. He complains to his son, all the kids shows suck now. They sit and discuss the show's plus and minuses while you listen or watch on YouTube to the arguments. Who is right? Is it the son or the dad? Either way you get to laugh knowing Christian is mad. So pull up a chair, get the corner poppin'. Here's a new episode of What Are We Watching?
Hey everybody, be sure to go to our sponsored website, summerofgiveaways.com, where you can win some awesome prizes. All you do is put in your email address and you will be registered to win. This week they are giving away iTunes gift cards. That's right, you can get music, books, movies, apps, all for free. So go to summerofgiveaways.com. You won't be spammed. You won't get a lot of garbage message. What you will get is a message every week or two that says, hey, there's new podcasts by these awesome podcasters. It includes us at the What Are We Watching podcast. It also includes our other podcasts, Screaming Dads and Teen Nerd Talk. But it includes podcasts from some great places like Life of Dad, the Great Big Beautiful Podcast, and bloggers that are blowing people out of the water with their great content. So go to summerofgiveaways.com, put in your email address. You'll be registered to win iTunes gift cards, Transformer gift packs. There's an Entourage gift pack. There's a Stanley mug. There's the Mighty mug. There's Pop Life t-shirts, which you've heard me go on and on about. They're awesome. So go to summerofgiveaways.com, enter your email address to win. And you can also go to our main site, plaiddadblog.com, put in your email address there for a second chance to win. So be sure to check out our sponsor. And now let's talk about some of these horrible TV shows.
They are not horrible.
What are we watching?
All right, so how are you doing, Carlin?
I'm doing very well.
All right, you've been away for a couple days, so I haven't got the chance to talk to you. You've been enjoying your summer, I guess.
Yes, I have been.
I feel like we're in business casual today. We're each in our little 3-button collar shirts. I feel like we're a little fancy today. All right, well, we've got some new additions to our studio. Not that you can really tell, but we were working with a new soundboard, which is really nice. Carlin and I have an awesome screen that we can look at ourselves in, and hopefully we don't, so that we're looking at you while you're watching this podcast. But we've gotten some new stuff in. Are you excited about that kind of stuff?
Yes, I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's looking like a TV studio in here finally. So what did you do on your little break these past couple days?
I went to visit my Grammy and Granddad, and we had lots of fun there.
Yeah, well, what kind of fun did you have? What'd you do?
We played laser tag there.
You played laser tag against Grammy?
Well, not against Grammy, but at the last few parts, Grammy and Granddad were watching me win.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, it's kind of easy shooting Grammy with a laser tag gun. She's not moving very fast.
Yeah, she said she's never played before.
Yeah, well, that's probably a win in her book. All right, so you did have fun.
Yes.
And while you were gone, I put up a tetherball pole for you and your sister and your little brother, and I threw out my back. So now I feel like an old man. So I was digging a hole and threw out my back. It hurts so bad. I'm so old. So this episode of the What Are We Watching podcast, our third episode, we decided to watch Kickin' Season 1, Episode 17. Now you can find the link in the comments below, whether you're listening on LiveSend, watching on YouTube, you're on whatarewewatching.com, or on our main site, plydadblog.com. You can always find out what show we're watching with our mini episode, and it will say, this is what we're watching next week. Be sure to watch it. Here's the link. And we always try to get a free YouTube link up for you to watch in case you've cut the cord with cable or you don't have Disney, Nickelodeon, or whatever channel that we're watching that week. Now, last week, the YouTube link to the show disappeared because they pulled it off of YouTube, and I tried to update it as soon as possible. So hopefully you all saw the episode of Kickin' It. Again, it's season 1, episode 17. You can always just Google the stuff, and trust me, you will find it. So what do you think about the show Kickin' It? Because you know I usually have an opinion about these shows, but I really have an opinion about this show. What do you think about the show Kickin' It?
I honestly think it's awesome.
You think the show is awesome?
Yes.
You've seen it before, not just this episode.
Yes.
What is your favorite thing about Kickin' It?
That they have their own dojo and they do karate.
Okay, that is my biggest problem with Kickin' It. Okay? And that is they never do karate. They never do karate.
Oh, yes, they do. I am so sure about that.
There's one kid in this show that does karate. In this whole episode, in a show called Kickin' It, there was one kid that did karate stuff.
Yes, if you watch the other shows, then you'll realize.
Well, I realize it's supposed to be, but we're watching this episode and we're talking about this episode, and one kid does something and it's a joke. It's a joke.
No.
Now we are going to talk about season 1, episode 17. Just give a brief synopsis of what this episode was about, if you can even do that.
So this episode was about Jack and his first time meeting Duke, and he was a professional board breaker. And the first time Jack met him when he was a little boy, Duke was very mean to him. Now Jack wants to beat his record.
Okay, that's the main story of this episode, you'd say.
Yes.
Okay, I would say that's the secondary story to this episode, because the episode opens up with a kid that's in the dojo, as you call it, living in his locker at school.
He doesn't really live in his locker. He just went to sleep there.
I know, but his name is Jerry. He was living in his locker because his cousin was coming to stay, and he had to share his bed with his cousin, and his cousin wet the bed. So he was sleeping in his locker at school, right? In his pajamas.
Yes.
And that is there's 3 storylines of this episode. I'd say that's the bigger storyline because that's the one they spend the most time on. So already karate is secondary in this show because it's the smaller storyline. Would you agree? I mean,
yes.
More time is spent on Jerry, the idiot, living in his locker.
Yes, he's very funny.
Funny doesn't mean idiot. He's an idiot.
Yeah, but still, he is funny.
Oh my gosh! He's horrible. Okay, so then it cuts to them at the dojo. Where were the adults at the dojo?
There weren't any adults.
Okay, so who's teaching them karate?
Their master?
And where was he?
I'm not sure.
Who is their master?
I don't remember the name.
Was he even in this episode?
No, he wasn't in this episode, but he is in other episodes.
So this is a show about karate, and their karate master was nowhere to be found. They were basically kicking wooden boards that I'm going to get to in a minute, and there was no adult supervision around. And then when they left the studio, they didn't turn off the lights. They didn't shut the door. It's just empty to get ransacked by whoever walks in. Am I wrong about any of this?
Yes.
I am wrong?
Yes.
What am
Phil
I wrong
across
about?
the street.
Okay, what?
Well, not across the street, but across the mall.
Okay, who's Phil?
He's in charge of his own restaurant.
So Falafel Phil, by the way.
Yes, Falafel
Who's a
Phil.
ridiculous caricature of a Middle Eastern man. You expect Falafel Phil to take care of the dojo, which is in a mall, because there's no adults around.
Oh, Rudy was there.
Who's Rudy?
Rudy is like the head of all of the other kids, but their master would teach them.
Oh my gosh.
They probably took the day off.
There was never an adult in charge of these kids. Not at the dojo. There wasn't a teacher at the school. Nobody was stopping this kid from living in his locker. There was never any adult interaction. None. With these kids, except for a doctor at the hospital because they injured themselves because there was no adult supervision, and they dealt with an adult that was being mean to them, which is the guy you were talking about, the Duke guy that was mean to him. Mean to the, I guess, main character. It's hard to say there's a main character in the show. But the kid, what's his name, that was going to do the wood breaking contest?
Jack.
Okay, let's just call Jack the main character. Even though it's obviously there's no real main character of the show. Okay, the only guy I ever see on the commercials is the Rudy guy who's supposed to be an adult. And he's always acting like just as much of an idiot as the kids.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
Yeah, he is acting like an idiot. Okay, so real quick, what happened at the beginning of the Kickin' It show? After the guy's living in a locker, Jack wants to break boards to... He basically went as a fan to see his hero, Duke, whatever his name was. And he went to see him, Duke Evans. And he went to see him to say, oh man, I love your work. I want to be as good as you. And what did Duke say to this kid, Jack?
Well, he said, you're never going to be at karate. Good at karate.
Never going to be good at karate. You're never going to be a good karate. He said, you'll never be a karate expert. And he said that he didn't have the build for it. Did you catch that? He said, you're not built for karate. He said this as an adult to a kid that's basically just a little bit bigger than you. He said to a kid, you don't have the build to do karate. How does this guy know? He's already a jerk. This guy should go, oh, this kid Jack should be like, you're not my hero. You suck, dude. You're a jerk to children. Right?
Yes, he is a jerk.
He's a jerk with a mullet. Short hair in front, long hair in the back, right?
Yes.
Business up front, party in the back. All right, so he's a jerk with a mullet and a headband. And he should have just said, heck with this guy. I don't care what he thinks. But now he wants to beat him in a contest.
Yes.
Okay, so now what I would call the main part of the show, what happens after this? After he decides he's going to beat this guy?
He uses Jerry to hold up the boards, and he goes too fast and kicks Jerry.
Jerry the idiot.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about the boards. Okay, now there is, in karate, there are legitimate boards that get hit with karate. Sometimes they break concrete blocks, all kinds of things. Were you impressed with how many boards they were able to break in this episode?
Well, I did realize something didn't really look like they broke as many as they were told to do.
Oh, okay, yeah, in towards the end. But I mean, are you impressed with the guy karate chopping and breaking a board?
Yeah.
Okay, the board that they're using is balsa wood. Okay? Now, I get it, they have to use stunt stuff. When somebody in a movie gets cracked on the head with glass, it's not real glass because that would really hurt the actor, okay? It's called candy glass. It shatters and it's pretty and it looks awesome, okay? But the boards that they were using, they didn't even attempt to make them look anything more than balsa wood, which is about like this. You know those little wooden airplanes you can get at the Dollar Tree and put together?
Yes.
And how the very first time you throw it against a tree, it snaps in half?
Yes.
Because it's cheap. That's what they were using for these karate episodes. This was not like thick wood or anything. It was definitely not impressive. But you were impressed?
Yes, I'm a kid and I like TV shows.
Okay. You know what? Every time I say a show's horrible, if you just said, I'm a kid, I like TV shows, that's actually a valid excuse for liking these shows. That's pretty funny. But it's garbage. Okay. So this kid, Jerry, the idiot that's living in his locker because he doesn't want to sleep in the same bed as his cousin, because God knows they don't have a couch at home where he could sleep, or a sleeping bag he could sleep on the floor, or a friend's house he could spend the night. All of these are his friends, but he didn't think, let me call Jack and see if I can spend the night at his house. No, I'll stand in a locker and sleep.
It's supposed to be funny.
He was also brushing his teeth, by the way, with no place to spit it out. I imagine the bottom of his locker was pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and smelled of feet. Okay, so Jerry the idiot goes to the hospital, but you left out one part. Right before they go to the hospital, they just happen to find out that the girl that's their friend and a student at the teacherless dojo is a
Nurse for the day.
candy striper. Candy striper, not a nurse. Candy striper is a person who originally they would carry around like a box of candy and do all that kind of stuff, but they really just take things to the patients. She kind of helps the nurses out.
Yes.
You find out she helps bring pudding cups and, food, and she does some other gross things that I don't think candy strippers have to do that we'll get into in a minute. But I would say that's the main story, because they spend most of the time on Jerry.
They do.
Okay. Now, the first adult I see interacting with these kids is a doctor.
Yes.
Okay. And the doctor tries to talk down to the kids a little. Now, he's a little bit of a jerk. He's like, they said, what's wrong with our friend? What's wrong with our friend? And he says something like, he's got a boo-boo on his head or something,
On his tum-tum.
Oh, boo-boo
and we
on
had
his...
to order tum-tum pictures.
Yeah, a boo-boo on his tum-tum. That's right. And had to order tum-tum pictures. But the kid automatically starts talking like a doctor to prove how smart he is.
Milton.
Yeah, and I found that just as obnoxious as the doctor talking bad to the kids.
Kids have better PR.
Kids have better PR, just like it says in our promo song. That's very good, our theme song. Nice job. All right, so the third story is about Rudy. Tell us about Rudy's story in this episode.
Rudy, at first, he goes to Falafel Phil's restaurant, and he just wants one falafel bowl. And when Rudy is talking to his sister and all this stuff that nobody knows that it is his sister, Rudy asked for a one falafel bowl, and he pressed the button. He said, yes. And then he was like, oh, crap, because he didn't want anybody getting the free food for life.
All right, let me pop in there a little bit to make it make sense, because you just said he a bunch. Falafel Phil owns the falafel stand restaurant, right?
Yes.
And the news station is there, and they're like, hey, how are you celebrating your millionth customer? We're going to give away free falafel for life.
Yes.
Okay, and his sister is going to pretend to be the millionth customer. Did you notice anything weird about his sister?
Yes, it looked like a man.
Yeah, it was him. They had him play in two parts. He had a wig on and was playing his sister.
Yes.
Did you get that or not? Or
yes.
You did figure that out? Okay. And of course, Rudy shows up and ends up being the millionth customer, and balloons. He wins the falafel for life, and now Falafel Phil's mad, and Rudy orders so much falafel he's basically throwing up from it.
Yes.
Okay. Almost. All right. And there's a joke where Rudy burps to make more room so that he can eat more falafel.
Yes.
And this was hilarious to you.
Yes.
Of course it was. All right.
He said...
What?
He said prime real estate.
He made some prime real estate. Oh, man. I only laughed because you laughed. Hey, what did this show have that all these other shows have had, speaking of laughs?
A laugh track.
Are you starting to notice laugh tracks now that we've done this podcast?
Yes.
Now, is it...
But I bet it would still be funny without it.
Okay. Sure.
I had to say something before you said something.
Okay. So, here, I'm gonna move your mic back just a little bit so people can see that lovely face of yours. All right. So, oh man, would it be funny without the laugh track? Is it funny at all? It's kind of an existential question. The answer's no, by the way. Okay, so the girl's a candy striper. She just happens to be a candy striper for the episode that they're at a hospital. Who knew? And the doctor, by the way, jokes about losing a patient.
I didn't know he was joking.
Well, the joke is he said I lost a patient, and all the people think that he means that
The patient died.
right, and he just means that he lost him. Why did the doctor, who is rich by the way because he's a doctor, why did the doctor lose a patient?
Because on the elevator he went to pick up a penny, and then when he looked back up, the patient was gone.
Yeah. Such good writing that they made sure that the richest person on the show, the guy with the BMW, the 3-car garage, the 20-roomed house, maybe not, maybe a 10-room house, at least 3 bathrooms, that guy is so cheap, he's going to pick a penny off the floor and lose a patient.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so, laugh track. So this isn't a fourth story. It's a side note to the Jerry story at the hospital. But your mom had some things to say about this. Did you notice that she picked up on the baby part? Your mom, who's getting ready to have a baby in 2 months.
Yes.
She was talking about how in this episode, 2 of the friends, they just wandered in the baby nursery room.
Yes.
And started doing what?
Picking up the babies and shushing them.
Yeah. And then they ended up
mixing all of the babies up.
Mixing all of the babies up. Now, I can't even get... When we had Ollie 2 years ago, you remember this? You remember meeting us at the hospital?
Yes.
Mom and I looked like this. Because we were so tired and haggard. She did most of the work. But when we had Ollie at the hospital, they wouldn't even let me in that room. You have to have like a security badge to get in that room. But you know why? Because people accidentally mix up babies.
Oh.
And then they take home the wrong baby. That actually happens. Like, there's been stories about nurses mixing up babies, and 20 years later, like, you'll be living in a house and another guy's living in a house, and they realize, holy mess, this isn't my real family. That's my family, and you're with my family. And they've grown to love these kids.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, that is why there are security checks on these rooms. But these 2 idiots, friends, just roll right into the nursery and start playing with babies and picking them up and shushing them. And you thought all this was feasible?
I thought it was funny. I don't know what feasible means.
Realistic.
I just thought it was funny.
Realistic.
Yes, I did.
Okay, good for you. Well, I hope that one day, when you're an adult, you have a baby and 2 idiots wander in and just start playing with the babies and mixing them up. And I'll find out if I have the right grandkid or not one day.
Wow.
Don't worry, I'll be dead by then. All right. So, this Falafel Phil, his storyline with, what's the guy that got Rudy. What does he try to do to Rudy to keep him from getting his free falafel for life?
In the first part, he just says he's gonna cut him off, and Rudy doesn't let that happen.
No.
And then the second part happens when he tries to not let Rudy get more falafel balls. He poisoned something and tried to make Rudy eat it.
Hummus. It's a dip made for like chips or vegetables.
I thought it was at school we learned like hummus. It was a part that goes into soil and helps. What was a word for something?
Hummus is something you make with like chickpeas, and you blend it all up, and it makes like a dip or a spread. It's called hummus, and they made sure to say hummus in the show because that's the guy's accent. But that's what he made him, was hummus. And he poisoned it and tried to murder him.
Yes.
And how did Rudy find out that the hummus was poisoned, by the way?
He set it on the soil of his big plant.
And
then the plant died.
It died. This guy tried to murder a guy for having free falafel.
Yes.
So I think this is a little above your pay grade, but he's a Middle Eastern guy with a horrible fake Middle Eastern accent. And in today's world, again, I get this is past your pay grade, but as an adult, I have to note this. They basically made the Middle Eastern guy a bioterrorist to kill this guy to get him from eating free falafel. I'm just saying, in today's climate, that's a strong choice. Now, I know, like I said, you might not really get why that matters, and I don't think I'm going to explain it to you today. But from me to the other parents out there, that's a very strong choice that the writing room made. Of all the people to make a murderer, that's the guy they went with. I'm shocked they didn't get letters from that, really. So he tries to murder the guy. It doesn't happen. Rudy says, heck with this place. I'm going to go eat at the corn dog, whatever his name is, corn dog stand. And what happens with Rudy there?
He says, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. But he ends up, what I was getting at was he ends up winning. He's like the millionth customer at the corn dog place too, and ends up getting corn dogs for life. And even though this is at the end of the episode, we'll talk about the other story to finish up. But he ends up getting sick off of corn dogs, and who makes sure that he's all better?
Falafel Phil.
Falafel Phil, which makes absolutely no sense. He's mad that he's going to the competitor. He's mad that he won and was the millionth customer there. And he brings him to the hospital to save his life because he got sick off of corn dogs, eating so many corn dogs, after he tried to murder him.
They were friends before that.
Oh my gosh. Why? Because they worked at the
He
mall
just
together?
got a little mad.
He just got a little mad.
Yes.
He just has a hot temper.
Yes.
Okay. Because they're not stereotyping those people at all. Okay. So, okay. Real quick, the sub-story, which was Jack at the karate contest. He goes to beat his old hero. And how many boards does he have to break to beat his hero?
He has to break 28.
In 15 seconds.
Yes, 15 seconds.
Now, earlier you said, I don't think they were breaking as many boards as they said they were.
Yes.
Is this the scene you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, well, that makes sense because they weren't. In a lot of movies, there's training montages where they train for like a week. They're punching the bag, they're running, they're doing all this stuff, right, to music. And they did like basically a 15-second montage of this fight. That this kid was supposed to hit 28 boards. I get it. They were, they couldn't actually do 28 boards. It's probably impossible, even though they were using basically paper boards to do this. So, does he defeat the champion?
Yes, he does.
How old are these kids supposed to be?
About like 15 or 16, a little older than that.
Okay, I would say I think they were about like they're supposed to be 12 or 13.
Oh.
That might not sound any different to you, but that's a big difference in life, 12 and 13-year-old and 15, 16. Maybe they are supposed to be 15, 16. I mean, the girl is a candy striper, but this was one of the few shows that they actually looked younger than I guess maybe they're supposed to be. I don't know. Did they ever say that that's how old they are?
No, but I just figured.
Okay. All right. So he beats the guy. It was very anticlimactic as far as I was concerned. You knew it was going to happen.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We kind of skipped past Jerry just because I want to talk about some of the stuff with Jerry. Jerry was in the hospital for having his tum-tum hurt. And what was his goal the whole time he was in the hospital?
to be somewhere else where his cousin Pepito isn't and has his own bed.
So to stay at the hospital.
Yes.
And that included gags where the hospital bed closes up on him like a sandwich and
Yes.
him watching TV, all that kind of stuff. So what did this jerk, now he's not just an idiot, he's a jerk. What did he do to their friend that's a candy striper for the week?
He asked her to get him some pudding like 9 times in an hour.
He asked her, he screamed and yelled like a little girl.
Well, first he asked nicely the first 2 times.
Yeah, but that's not her job to get one guy pudding cups for him. And then what's the other thing that she does for him? Do you remember what she does for him? Which I'm telling you, a candy striper does not do. Does not do. What was it?
She massaged his feet.
She washed.
Oh, washed. I knew it was either washed or massaged.
She washed the feet of the guy that was living in his locker, brushing his teeth with no sink, and I believe probably peed and pooped in there.
He was sleeping in there.
After watching this show for one episode and judging Jerry, I think that he is the type of child who would have peed and pooped in his own locker while he lived in there. I'm not putting it past this kid. He's a moron. Okay, so the main story wraps up. Jerry stays at the hospital as long as he can, faking that he's sick, and he gets out fine. Does he worry about the hospital bill that his parents are going to have to pay?
Nope.
Nope. Don't even know if he has parents because there's no adults on this show.
He does.
He does?
Yes, he does have parents. Yeah, he does have parents.
How do you know? Because he talks about them.
Because when I was writing notes about this, when I was with Granddad, he let me watch the second episode.
Oh, another episode? Yeah.
Yes.
And he has parents?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to live in a world where we only watch this episode and he has no parents because there were no adults in this show. No teachers, no principals, no master at the dojo. There's 3 adults in this episode. Falafel Phil, idiot, who tries to murder somebody. The guy he tried to murder, who I guess works at the dojo, but never interacts with these kids one time. And the doctor.
Yes.
That's the only adults of the show. Okay.
Oh, wait, the news reporter.
Oh, and the news report. Okay, that doesn't count. That's just a character for that one episode. Oh, also, by the way, did you catch the wiener joke that they made on this episode?
Yes.
When he said, I ate so many corn dogs I was sick, and what did Falafel Phil say?
He was just mostly talking about the same things, but he said wiener. He kept saying that.
He had wieners all over his face. Come on. That's a wiener joke. Okay. So, oh my goodness. If you were going to rate Kickin' It 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, how would you rate Kickin' It?
I would rate it about 9.
9.
Yes.
I said 1 being the worst, 10 being the best.
I can't do 10 because Mighty Med, that's my favorite.
Oh my!
Except for Phineas and Ferb, but that was the best.
Phineas and Ferb's 100. Yeah. You're giving the show a 9.
Yes.
This episode in particular, a 9.
Yes.
You would say solid laughs, solid action? Is it too much to ask of a karate show that they actually do karate?
Oh, yeah. I've watched plenty of other episodes. Oh, yeah, they do karate.
They do it?
Yes.
Doo-doo is the perfect summary for this show.
Doo-doo.
A big pile of steaming doo-doo. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm not going to rate it because that's how bad this show is. Okay, so thank you for joining us for this episode of the What Are We Watching podcast. Now, here's where you come in as a viewer and as a listener. You go to our Libsyn page where you listen to the podcast, or our YouTube page where we post this, or plaiddadblog.com where we always double post, or whatarewewatching.com, and you leave us a message. You either tell us that I was completely wrong and Carlin was right, and give me some arguments to support your horrible premise. Or you tell me that I'm awesome and I was right. I expect the parents and the kids to come in on certain party lines. But you can tell us what we missed in the episode. What bad jokes did we miss? What good jokes did you enjoy? What did you like about it? Am I wrong just picking out this one episode and this show is great? It's not. You tell us what you think. You can also do it on Facebook.
Man.
And now we will mention your name and your comment on our next mini episode, which we will release next week. We will also be giving away prizes this week to anybody that comments. So if somebody comments this week, they can get a $5 Amazon gift card. What do you think of that? Pretty awesome. So let us know what you think of this episode, what you thought of Kicking It, what you thought of What Are We Watching? What did I miss? What was I wrong about? What was Carlin right or wrong about? Let us know. We'll talk directly to you into the camera and the microphone on our next mini episode. And you are going to get a beautiful Amazon gift card. Maybe you can buy an episode of Kickin' It if you want. Or better yet, buy The Karate Kid. That's right. You could use your Amazon gift card to buy a DVD or digital format of The Karate Kid, an actual karate movie that's about, get this, karate.
Yeah, that show is about karate. But this episode was about something else.
It was about morons with no parental supervision. Yeah, it perfectly sums up what kids would do without parents around.
Don't listen to this guy.
All right. Thank you for joining us for the What Are We Watching podcast. Do you have anything else to say, Carlin Jackson?
I don't think so.
Just that I'm wrong?
Yes. Yes, just that he's wrong.
Thank you for listening and watching. We will see you next time.
Subscribe to our YouTube page or else.
This production is brought to you by the Plaid Dad Blog Podcast Network. For more information, visit plaiddadblog.com.